Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking, right side. He wants it. A comeback. It is caught by Kelsey. Touchdown, Kansas City. The game is over. The Kansas City Chiefs are champions.
How about those Chiefs?
Welcome to the Kingdom Corner. I'm Andrew, and here with me is my friend, the guy coming to you from the land where dreams come true in Maryville, Missouri. This is my good friend Dale. Dale, how are we doing
today? There you go.
Hey,
we are doing fantastic. Great bye week, right? For us, getting off, giving the people a break from our voices. But we're back.
Whoa, hold on. I don't know if giving them a break is the right phrase here. Surely people love hearing our voices.
Yeah. But yeah, great bye week for us. I mean, it couldn't have been even better. All the top AFC teams losing, felt like, and so that just gives us a little more gap. And so we just need to take care of business and do what we do, and host the AFC Championship.
That's right. As it is affectionately been called the Arrowhead Invitational at this point, right?
Right.
So,
yeah.
It is looking good right now. Couldn't have asked for a better bye week if you're a Chiefs fan. You guys get to rest up and everybody else loses. So great time coming in. So coming into the Eagles game now, going to be playing on Monday night, a Super Bowl 57 rematch.
Ooh, here we go.
Oh man, that is going to be close. So as you might remember, that game in the Super Bowl ended 38-35. The Eagles led for most of that game until the fourth quarter when the Chiefs got the lead and didn't give it back. But man, it seems like every time we get into those Super Bowls, the Chiefs have to make a dramatic comeback. So none of these games are going to be easy. And when you get to that part of the season too, in the Super Bowl, you can't expect that to be easy. If it's easy, then, we need to redo the system of how we get to Super Bowls, the NFL does. So, but yeah, Super Bowl 57 rematch. So initial thoughts, Dale, how do you feel about the Eagles?
Yeah, definitely. The Eagles are 8-1. Is that correct?
Yeah.
They're 8-1, so they have a great record, and they're taking care of business. They're beating teams they should be beating, and doing it. I mean, I really feel like the Chiefs should be 8-1, but unfortunately, we got by the Denver Broncos a couple weeks ago, and so, but that would have been a great. It's going to be a great matchup, I think. Like you're saying, I think it's going to be close. Only beating them by 3 points. They got a lot of weapons on that side, on both sides of the ball, and are moving around and shaking. And so I think it's going to be a close game, just like the Super Bowl. I think it'll be a victory by 3 points or less.
All right. So it's going to be a close one. I don't disagree with you at all on any of that. So man, there's so much about this game that's going to be good, I think. So both teams are sitting atop their conference. The Eagles are the only one-loss team in the entire league. And so they send the 1 seed in the NFC, and the Chiefs are the only 2-loss team in the AFC. So they're sitting at number 1 in the AFC side. And so 2 top dogs coming into this fight on a Monday night in Arrowhead. I think you were telling me earlier it might even be a little bit poor weather. So I'm hoping not, honestly, because I'm going to be sitting out there in the stand, so I don't want to be sitting there through the
boots
cold.
On the ground. They got, I think it's going to be a high of 59 up here in the where the dreams come true, Maryville. So it might be a little warmer. It might be 62 down in Kansas City, but rain is in the forecast. So we'll see.
Yeah,
but I'm sure the grounds crew will have that field looking amazing.
Oh, I'm sure they will. They got a great ground crew, so. I'm just more worried about staying warm at this point. I'm sure I'll be fine. Right. We've been in some very cold weather games before, even some snow games. And if the Chiefs are winning, it always feels warmer. I can tell you that.
That's right. Yeah. So I definitely think we'll walk out here with the dub.
Well, I hope so.
I'm going to guarantee it.
Yeah. Well, let's give a little shout out to our Twitter then too. I mean, we're going to have, as you put it, some boots on the ground here. So probably be live tweeting some things, hopefully some good things from our Twitter. So if you're not already following our Twitter, go ahead and jump over there. Or I'm sorry, X now, right?
Yeah. X, please.
Formerly respect for Twitter.
Respect for Elon.
My apologies, Elon. My apologies. But go over there to X and follow us at Kingdom_Corner, both with K's, Kingdom_Corner. Over there on the X and see all the stuff we do. And plus, we give away things every once in a while, too. So shout out to Tyson Brandizer for winning our latest giveaway, our signed picture of the great Derek Johnson. So,
all right. Wow.
That's a good one.
Linebacker.
That's a good one there. That's
a good one.
One of the good ones there. So, Now we got another good one in Nick Bolton. So, but jumping into this game against the Eagles again here. So, couple rankings here and standings for as far as the Chiefs and Eagles go. Total yards, the Eagles are 5th in that, and the Chiefs are 8th as far as their offenses goes. Let's run down the Chiefs' offense real quick, which, as we know, has been struggling. But even with them struggling, Patrick Mahomes is still finding his yards through the air,
which is unreal.
It is. He is 5th, or the Chiefs overall, I should say, are 5th in passing with 265 yards. They're 19th in rushing, so moving up a little bit, but not much. So averaging about 104 yards per game, and they're 13th in scoring, averaging just a little over 23 points a game. So the offense here, from these numbers, other than maybe the rushing, seem to be pretty good, right? But the struggle there is with the rushing and with the scoring, right? So last year we were getting into the red zone and putting it in, and man, we've been struggling in the red zone this year. And so you can put up all sorts of numbers you want to, but it doesn't matter if you don't put up points. And that's kind of where we're sitting at with the Chiefs, is they seem to be putting up some numbers even in the passing games, but they got to start putting up some points. So the flip side, the Eagles offense, they're 5th in total yards, 10th in passing yards, 8th in rushing yards, and 3rd in scoring, averaging 28 points a game. So their offense is top 10 in all categories.
Humming.
It is. Yeah. So, and they got lots of good things going there for them too. So, man, they basically everywhere you look at, they got some weapons all around. They got 2 explosive wide receivers, which I'm sure we'll talk about here more in a second. But anyways, look at the defensive side real quick. Chiefs defense, number 4 in total yards, 5th in passing yards, 17th in rushing yards, and that is the struggle for the Chiefs defense. But they're
how many rushing yards are they giving up?
112 a game.
Okay.
So, and they're giving up 4.6 yards per carry.
Yeah, that's probably the bigger number, right?
That's the bigger number. Yes.
Yeah, that's absolutely the number we need to care about. So
yeah, you really want to be closer to 3 as a defense. And they're almost 5 yards a carry. I think to Mozart in the last game against the Dolphins, they gave up over 7 yards a carry to him. So
and I think the benefit, even though our offense is struggling, we're still playing with the lead.
Yeah.
And so that's making other teams one-dimensional, and they give up on the run a lot quicker than they probably should, but we're glad they give up on the run.
Absolutely. As we've said before, if I was the other team playing the Chiefs, I would run the ball until they could stop it.
Right. And so that, I mean, like, we're fortunate definitely to be 8 and are 6-2.
Yeah.
Are we 7-2? 7-2. Sorry, 7-2.
7-2.
Yeah.
Put some respect on that. So.
I'm sorry. I don't know where I got 6. So 7-2.
So
yeah.
But even with all that, the Chiefs defense is still 2nd in scoring, giving up 15.9 points a game. So a little under 60.
Yeah. That bend don't break, baby. That bend don't break.
That's exactly what it is. Bend don't break.
That's that Gunther Cunningham defense. Bend don't break.
That's right. So then we got the Eagles defense. They're 14th in yards given up. They're 28th in passing yards given up a game.
Yeah, there we go.
But they're number 1 in rushing yards per game. Wow. They're giving up only 66 rushing yards per game, 3.7 yards per carry. That's pretty good. They're really 18th in scoring points allowed, though, so 21.7 points a game allowed. So that's definitely their weakest spot, is their defense. And so, I mean, you can almost say it's strength on strength in this game. Chiefs defense versus the Eagles offense.
Right, which is crazy to say.
I know. Who would have thought with Patrick Mahomes, we'd ever saying, the offense is the thing that's really going to hold us back here. I mean,
but even though, like, overall, they're really not like that bad. They just, I think,
I know they learn how to catch a ball.
Well, and that's the big thing, is that they have the most drops in the NFL by far. And that's we're not trying to make excuses. That's just the facts. That's the stats, is that they have the most drops. But yet, like you said, somehow, some way, Mahomes is still 2,400 yards in the season passing, which is, how's that possible? You know, and so he's doing it.
He's going to be really close to 5,000 if he keeps this up.
Right. So, and the thing is, like,
get there, but get close.
Yeah, he's getting close. But it's like, we're so used to like 40 points, 30 points, and then just, leading the league in offense. And they are very close. What'd you say? They're number 4 overall. And so,
Chiefs defense,
yeah.
Yep.
Or what's their offense overall? Is it 8? Did you say 8?
The Chiefs offense is 8.
Yeah, 8th overall. So
in total yards.
So it's still a top 10 offense, which can definitely win the Super Bowl, and a top 4 defense or top 5 defense that can win a Super Bowl. So as last time we had a podcast, I was saying, hey, we're going to trust Andy Reid and we're going to trust Pat Mahomes and say they're going to figure it out. They've promised us that they will figure it out. And so I think this is the game where they get it figured out. A little off, I know, obviously you probably gave the boys the week off, but I'm for sure they came in focused, ready to go. Hopefully Andy Reid went back in the lab and says, hey, now that he knows how, gee whiz, it's been so long. What's the guy's name? Rashid Rice. Rashid Rice works and operates, and there's 9 games on film of him. And so I'm sure Andy Reid watched a bunch of Rashid Rice, like, okay, how can we get this guy open all the time? And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Let's get this guy open.
Yeah, and one of the other things we've been talking about during this bye week is Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift once again, right? And we're not going to dive too much into this.
More. Bring me, give me more.
But hey, I'll tell you this: as long as they keep winning when she's there, she's welcome to come anytime she wants to.
I heard she's going to be there too.
Hey, we welcome her with open arms.
That's
come on, Taylor.
Come on. Hey, there's plenty of room in the Chiefs' kingdom.
We might not have been Swifties before, but maybe we should become some. So,
well, yeah, my daughters are. My daughters are Swifties, so I feel like I'm an honorary Swiftie.
All right,
for sure. So
and being a youth pastor, there's a lot of youth that are Swifties too. So, I mean, maybe we're just honorary members and didn't even know it.
That's right. So I know a couple of her songs just because of hearing the girls singing them. So.
You can't hardly walk into the store anymore without hearing one of her songs, especially if you live in the Kansas City area.
That's right.
Me and my wife and I were walking around in the Legends just a couple of weeks ago, and I'm not kidding.
Right.
Every song was Taylor Swift. Every single one.
There you go.
She is taking over that town.
There you go. Hey, she's changing lyrics for Travis Kelce.
She is. Yeah. So, hey. Hey, more to them, right?
Anyway, no, I got you derailed off your point, but
you're fine. But a lot of people are talking, say, hey, not Taylor Swift, but Travis Kelce is distracted. This guy, he's traveling the world. It's like, hey, it's his bye week, his off week. He can do his off time with what he wants. Until we're ready to have our free time analyzed by others, let's not dive too deep into what somebody does with their free time.
And then
if he has the money to do it, then by all means go do it.
Right. I think it was reported that he got back Sunday, and so he's got plenty of time to get back. And let him do what he wants to do. Why are we? And the only problem is because he's such a public figure. I mean, everyone thought this podcast him and his brother are doing was going to be a distraction, and they both ended up going to the Super Bowl. So I think Travis Kelce can figure it out what he needs to do, what he needs to keep doing. So he's playing great this year at 34 years old. And so let's not worry about him and him being distracted. Let's just focus on the other parts of the offense that are not producing. So,
Yep. No doubt. And so, and Andy Reid, he is great coming off a bye too. And so let's not forget that. Now, the other side is the Eagles are also coming off their bye, which doesn't always happen in the NFL where both teams come off their bye at the same time. But, that's fine. Hope we want to get everybody's best shot, honestly. We do.
Right,
we want to know where we match up and how we match up to these other teams so that when we get to the playoffs and to the postseason and potentially the Super Bowl, we kind of have already been battle tested and are ready for that environment.
Right.
And if you don't get everybody's best shot during the regular season, you're not going to be ready by the time postseason rolls around.
No.
Which is why some of these teams who don't have tough schedules, they might have one tough game maybe, but who aren't playing tough games week after week, or at least a few in the season, they tend to crumble a lot in the playoffs.
Right. Oh, yeah. Were you talking about the Baltimore Ravens there?
Well, I might have been.
Not playing anybody.
Not intentionally.
I'm not throwing shit. I mean, like we have said before on this podcast, and you have reminded me. Listen, you can only play the teams that are on your schedule. You can't, So Ravens are taking care of business. Great for them, but they have faced a little diversity here lately. So they got a big game coming up this week, and so we'll see how they do.
Yeah, for sure they do. So, all right, couple of things taking note. So the big matchups to watch are I think both sides of the ball on the lines, right? The Chiefs offensive line and defensive line, both sides, especially I'd say the Chiefs offensive line though.
Right. Well, do you remember how many sacks they gave up in the Super Bowl?
0. I do remember. They made T-shirts and everything for it.
Yeah, they made T-shirts and everything. So I think that streak's going to continue. I think that's. I mean, I know there's a couple different guys there, but they made a big deal about that, protecting Mahomes, and like that's a huge thing. So protect him. And so let's get 0 sacks.
Yep. Well, with the Eagles having the number 1 rush defense, they could easily make the Chiefs one-dimensional, and Andy Reid is already favoring and is much more favorable towards just passing anyways. I think he runs the ball just because he feels like he has to try to keep defenses honest.
Yeah.
But if he feels like he's forced out of it, he'll easily go to just passing.
Oh.
And so, and as we discussed in our podcast leading up to the Dolphins game, when Pacheco runs 8 times or less, or in both losses this year, he's only run the ball 8 times exactly.
Okay.
And so if we want to continue to have a balanced offense and to potentially win a game, I think you got to keep feeding him throughout the game. You know, you need to get him 12 plus touches a game, for not just passing but rushing the ball, 12 plus rushes a game. So the Chiefs offensive line, they got to step up to get some running game going for Pacheco.
Right. I really feel like, and I know we're talking about this, and maybe we'll probably hit on this earlier, like the keys. Like this would be the other key. I think Jet McKinnon is going to have a big game because I think a screen is as good as a run in today's offense. Is just not labeled as a run, right? And so Andy Reid's great at drawing up screens, and I think we're going to see a screen game to help. We may not run it, but we're going to make those screens keep the defensive line honest. Because if you just come bull rushing, Pat Mahomes is too talented he'll find the guy in the flat. And so I think Jet McKinnon will have a big game.
All right.
So fantasy owners, go grab him because he's going to have 3 touchdowns.
All right. I expect him to see him on your roster this week, Dale.
I'm not saying.
No. Don't be telling you to grab him in your lineup and then not do it yourself.
All right. Well, I think he's already taken in our league. Taken our league.
Do I play you this week? Because I hope you do, and I hope you start Jet McKinnon. Not because I hope he does well, but
yeah.
We'll see. Well,
I think with a good pass rush, you got to do something, and like you've mentioned,
that's true.
You gotta keep it honest, and then like that's hard to run up the tackles when they're that good, and so
Well, yeah, and to your point,
I may admit, go ahead.
To your point with the screen game or even just jet sweeps, when you get those defensive line guys running from one side to the other side over and over again, you can wear them out pretty quick.
Yeah.
So that'd be a good strategy.
And I don't know how good our running offensive line is.
Well, depends on the week. They're great. They're great at pass protection, and I'll even give Isaiah Pacheco a shout out. I don't know if you've noticed this year, his pass protection from the running back spot has been immensely improved. I mean, it's like Jet McKinnon took him aside. Let me show you how a running back blocks for his quarterback. And that guy, oh man, Pacheco, shout out to that guy. He is playing lights out, even from the blocking game standpoint.
Right.
Which doesn't show up early on a stat sheet, but you just watch him and he's doing it.
Yeah. So, I just don't know how good our run attack is with our offensive line. I know they're great at pass protection. I mean, Mahomes has been standing up pretty straight most of the year, and so and the Super Bowl where he wasn't sacked one time, and so
well, and even this year they've still given up the least amount of sacks of any team in the league. So the Chiefs pass protection's been doing great, and part of that too is Mahomes is able to scramble and. He doesn't put himself in those situations either. So part of that's Mahomes, and a lot of it's to his offensive line. So they're both doing good. The other thing we got to watch for is the Eagles wide receivers versus the Chiefs secondary. They got 2 receivers, both totally different ways that they play the game, but both very explosive in their own right. So you got A.J. Brown, who might be the best receiver in the NFL. I'm not going to say he is, but he's top 5. For sure. I mean, you also got Tyreek Hill,
top
Justin
5, easy.
Jefferson.
Yeah.
You know, you got
Jamar Chase.
Yeah, CD Lamb. You know, you could easily come up with top 5, 10
I don't know
guys,
about
but
CD Lamb. I mean, I don't know why you're.
oh, okay. You know what? I'm throwing some guys out here, giving some guys some shout outs.
CD Lamb, though?
Hey, I'm not saying this is my top 5. I'm saying these are potential top 5 guys.
Well,
okay. Let's not hold me to all these guys I'm throwing
all right,
out. Okay?
I'm not gonna listen. I thought your word meant something.
Okay.
And I'm just
you know what?
throwing out guys.
I apologize. I'm just trying to think of great receivers for different teams, and he is the Dallas Cowboys' best receiver. I'm not saying he's top 5 in the NFL.
Right. Okay.
So, anyways, but
he's
had some great games the last 2 weeks, but that doesn't make him a top 5 receiver.
Well, playing the New York Giants, we probably could have some great games.
Yeah, probably so. Oh man! I mean, we talked before. Anyways, let's not get off on that.
Let's not go.
But yeah, so our secondary has got to stop AJ Brown. So AJ Brown is a huge guy. He can catch anything over anybody. Big body. He can box you out. He can. Man, he's just so talented in that way. Then on the other side of him, you got Devontae Smith, who's a speed guy, so a little bit smaller, but he can burn you over the top. And so, and then you got DeAndre Swift too, and Jalen Hurts, who's a running quarterback as well. Yeah. And so your defense, you got to play a big guy. You almost have to double cover AJ Brown because of just his size alone. Yeah. But then you can't get burned over the top by Devontae Smith and give up easy touchdowns. Yeah. But then you also have to make sure you contain Jalen Hurts and don't let him run for however many yards against you just because you give him a lane. So it's going to be a challenge, but we're going to really find out how good that Chiefs defense is. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think we've already proven that they are good, but we're going to just see once again how good they really are.
Yeah, and I think they and we know from being Chiefs fans for a long time, in this era of the Chiefs, they usually rise up to the big games. Right. And sometimes those games that aren't so big, like the Denver Broncos or, whoever, like the Houston Texans last year comes to mind, the Colts come to mind, like they didn't bring their A game. And so I feel like when the matchup and the marquee's higher, it's Monday night, I think they're going to be ready to go. And, because they know they're the only team on TV at that moment, and everyone's watching them and seeing how they're doing. So I think when the lights get brighter, I feel like the Kansas City Chiefs play better, which is weird.
Well, let me tell you how the Chiefs defense has done against these top receivers so far this year.
All right.
This isn't everybody's receiver because some teams, I don't want to throw people under the bus, but some teams don't have a
CD Lamb.
Yeah, everybody doesn't have a CD Lamb or an AJ Brown, right? So, whoever it is. All right. But
I'm sorry. It was right there. I had to take it.
All right. I know. It's taking shots at me now as much as this other guy. All right. So all right. So the Chiefs defense against these top receivers. So first week of the season against the Lions, Amon St. Brown, great second-year wide receiver, held him to 6 catches for 71 yards, 0 touchdowns.
Right, yeah.
A few weeks later, played the Bears, and the Bears are awful, but they do have DJ Moore, who is a great wide receiver. Held him to 3 catches for 41 yards and a garbage time touchdown.
Right.
Played the Jets, Garrett Wilson, great wide receiver. I mean, say what you want about their quarterback who, struggles, but great wide receiver.
Yeah.
9 catches, 60 yards, 0 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, maybe the best wide receiver in the league, arguably at least. 3 catches, 28 yards, 0 touchdowns. Keenan Allen.
Didn't he get hurt in that game too? That's where he got hurt, right?
I believe so, yes.
But in the third quarter. I think the third quarter, though.
Yeah, it wasn't early in the game.
It wasn't early in the game, yeah.
Yeah, it was later in the game. And then Keenan Allen, who's might be having one of the best years of his career. 4 catches for 55 yards, 0 touchdowns. And then last week, or 2 weeks ago now with the bye against the Dolphins, Tyreek Hill, 8 catches, 62 yards, 0 touchdowns.
So what Waddle had? Do you have Waddle's numbers? Because Waddle's one. I mean, that's 1A.
Well,
1B.
I don't have Waddle's right here in front of me, but most of these teams had other guys that had to step up. Even the Vikings, they had 3 guys who had more catching yards than Justin Jefferson. But all this just to say, the Chiefs are shutting down for the most part team's number one receivers, and they're having to rely on second guys.
Right.
And so a lot of that is L'Jarius Sneed. That guy is manhandling guys at the line, even big guys. And so it'll be interesting to see how they approach A.J. Brown.
Right.
I mean, other than Justin Jefferson, they're playing some great guys, but Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown are two guys that are built very much the same way. That are big guys that are very strong.
Right. I mean, just to hold teams in the NFL under 21 points consistently in the league is pretty impressive, especially because the rules and everything are geared towards the offense. I mean, they help the offense in every way. No, and so for just to hold them, and so I looked up real quick. Waddle had 3 catches for 42 yards. So I mean, like that's pretty impressive. Just to hold those two guys right at 100 yards, 104, and so that's pretty impressive to hold those two guys that are just at any moment can go off. And so, the Chiefs defense has stepped up, and it really is why we're 7-2.
Yeah, 7-2.
Yeah,
and the difference between the Dolphins and the Eagles, too, is the Dolphins with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, while, yes, Tyreek Hill is a strong guy, he's still a small speed guy. That's his game, right? He's trying to outrun you and outflank you all the time. And the Eagles, they have one guy like that and one guy in A.J. Brown who's just going to try to be a beast and catch the ball over you and run over you. So that's what's challenging about the Eagles. They have two different style of wide receivers who are both very good at the way they play the game.
There you go.
So my key to the game, first off, slow down A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. A.J. Brown is averaging 112 yards a game as a wide receiver.
Yeah.
So there's not many wide receivers averaging over 100 yards like him, Tyreek Hill, and maybe one or two other guys. So slow him down and slow Devontae Smith down, who's in his own right averaging almost 60 yards a game.
Yeah,
and
then,
and then my final key of the game, then sorry to interrupt you, but you can show yours in a second too. But then keep Eagles out of the 3rd and short, right? Because
the brotherly shove, baby.
Shove.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
So you want to keep them out of 3rd and 1 and 2. So you got to stop them on early down so they can't get to 3rd and 1 and 2. Because if they, as they say it, they think it's 1st and 9 every time they get the ball, because they get it to 1 yard and they just do that quarterback sneak, the brotherly shove, so to speak, and easily get it every time. They have perfected that. And they started, I was saying they've even started this year to have a few play calls out of that too, so that they're not always doing that, even though they are doing that majority of the time.
Yeah, and I think even like 4th and short. I think anywhere on the field, I feel like they think they can get like 4th and 2, 4th and 1. They're going to go for it. And Nick Sirianni has proven himself to be a bit of a risk taker, a bit of a gambler, and it usually pays off for him in the brotherly shove. And so I think my keys for offense is someone other than Travis Kelce, right? Because it's Euro defense. I think I would just take away Travis Kelce and make those others beat you. So that's what you would try to do. And not that you can shut down Travis Kelce because he's so good. You're going to let him, he's going to get his, but like, just don't let him go crazy, right? Don't let him don't let Travis Kelce beat you. So the others have to show up. And so that's Watson, or that's Rashid Rice. One of those guys is going to have to develop into that number 1 wide receiver. And so it's out there for the taking, boys. Just someone reach out and grab it. Reach out there and grab it. So do that. And then I know we were talking on the phone earlier. I really think Andy Reid went into the lab and said, okay, how can I get these Rashid Rice open? What are some plays that we can design? I think that was what makes Andy Reid so great, is like he sees what Rashid Rice is. He's got 9 weeks of film on him. What can we do to get him open? And so I think we'll see some of those plays come out, some plays we haven't seen for him. And then on defense, it is, like you said, I think I'll go with the defensive line, making sure we can get pressure on Jalen Hurts and then stopping the run. Because Swift, we kind of overlooked a little bit, or just we can overlook real quick, is that he's pretty dynamic when he gets the ball in his hands. And so just making sure the defensive line can get pressure with 4, and that will help cover the wide receivers, and then also just stopping the run before it gets started. So those are my keys for the offense and the defense to come out with a dub this week. So,
all right, score predictions. I have this as a close game. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the line, last I looked, is about 2.5 in the Chiefs' favor. And so I think it's going to be really close to that. I think it's going to be Chiefs 24, Eagles 20.
24-20. I kind of similar score, 21-24 Chiefs.
All right. So 24-21 Chiefs.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I take either one of those scores as long as it's a Chiefs victory. So
we go 31-27. Let's go that.
Oh, are you officially changing your prediction here?
Yeah, officially changing I'm going to go a little more. I think the Chiefs are going to get it figured out with the offense and score some points and put it up. So that's still close, but I think it'll be 27-31 Chiefs.
All right, so, I'll take it. Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to some of our next section here. So player matchup or whatever you want to call it, blind player guess. Yeah, so I'm going to give you some stats here, and you can try to tell me which player you would take, and then if you want to, you can try to guess who's who. So running backs in this week's edition here, one Chiefs player and one Eagles player. So all these guys or both these guys are very close in stats here. So, all right, player A has 614 rushing yards. Player B has 525.
Okay.
Player A is averaging 4.5 yards a carry. Player B, 4.2. Long for the season. Player A, 43 yards. Player B, 48 yards.
All right. Well, home run.
Touchdowns on the year. They both have 3. Receiving yards on the year. Player A has 166. Player B has 160. Receiving touchdowns on the year. They both have 1. And then player A has 1 fumble loss on the year, and player B has 0.
Okay, well that is decided for me. I'm going player B just because the ball is the program, folks. You can't cough up the ball, especially as a running back. You got to hold on to the ball. And so player B, Isaiah Pacheco, we're gonna run angry at the ground.
All right. Well, you are correct. Player, I almost didn't put the fumbles in there, but
yeah,
I did it the last. I think if I hadn't put that in there, I might have got you. But
you might have got me. But
that's all right. Hey, they're both having great seasons.
Yeah.
And I will say this: DeAndre Swift has actually fumbled the ball, I believe 4 times between rushing and receiving. But he's only lost 1 of those. So
all right, ball's program though. Yeah,
it is. So Pacheco's not even dropped the ball once yet on either side. So that is good things to know and good stats to have.
Let's knock on some wood there, right?
That's right. I got some right here. I got you. Right. So hopefully we can keep that rolling here.
Yeah. So we'll do our one of my new favorite things is hearing your power rankings. And so from the bottom and the top of the AFC, because the NFC doesn't matter.
Not in our playoff standings. It doesn't.
Not in our playoff standings. So we're looking at who's at you want to start at the bottom or you want to start at the top?
We'll start at the bottom here.
All right. And we only do the top 3, right? The top 3
top 5.
Top 5. Oh,
the bottom is top 3, yes. Or the because bottom 3, so to speak.
Yeah, the bottom 3.
Yeah, we'll go from
I'm going to be interested to see who you got.
16 to 15, right? So worst not as worse. So that's not a word. But, I went to seminary. They didn't teach me English. So
no, they did not. Just Greek.
All right. So the bottom dwellers here. Number 16, we got the Patriots.
Oh, so, I think they're trying to be bad, aren't they?
Man, they might be.
I heard they're going to start Zappy the rest of the year.
Well, they might as well. I think they're basically out of contention. I don't think they even have a chance to make the playoffs at this point. They're so far behind. So
that's a good one.
Number 15, the Jets.
Whoa, okay.
Hey, the middle of the pack in the AFC is loaded.
Yeah, it is. It is. All right.
Some of our middle of the pack have found their way into the bottom 3 just because everybody can't be in the middle.
That's right. All
right. Number 14, the Raiders. So I know they're coming off 2-game win streak with their new or their interim head coach after firing the other guys. But eventually that luck is going to run out, I think. They kind of got lucky in their last game winning. So we'll see how that goes. But I think right now those are our bottom 3.
Okay.
So those are our AFC bottom dwellers this week. So the top 5 now.
All right.
The big boy, so to speak. Another shakeup in the standings here.
Well, I can't wait to see what you
all
got.
Right. Number 5, the Texans make their way into the top 5. CJ Stroud. I mean, we're not saying that he's going to be the real deal forever, but for this year, This is not a future power ranking. It's a current power ranking.
That's right.
So the Texans have found their way into the top 5, knocking off the Bengals and knocking the Bengals out of the top 5. So the Bengals are on their way down. The Bills have not seen the top 5 in weeks, and I don't know that they'll ever get back in there.
No.
So number 4, we still got the Jaguars. I know they're struggling, but they're still kind of one of those middle of the pack things. Texans are the same way. So same kind of thing. You got middle of the pack teams that are making their way up. Number 3, the Dolphins. Their big question still is defense, but their offense, if they don't play the Chiefs, they're explosive. So Dolphins at number 3. Number 2, the Ravens. They are 7-3. So the only other AFC team with 7 wins, but they lost in a last-second field goal to was the Browns, right? Just this past week.
Yeah, the Browns.
The Browns. I mean, those are shout out to the Browns. Got to have consideration for them, but with Deshaun Watson being out for the year, hard to move them up in the top 5. Then number 1, we still have the Chiefs, who have the best record in the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Right.
I think somebody's just got to knock them off before we officially knock them out ourselves.
Right, and that's got to be like the AFC Championship game, I think, right? Or they lose in the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll
so
see.
Right now.
Yeah. So those are your AFC power rankings going into week 11 here.
Week 11. It's going by too fast.
It is. Only a few more weeks left, and we'll be in the playoffs.
All right. So who are you cheering for tonight?
All right. Tonight.
So it's Thursday night. The Ravens and the Bengals play. So are you cheering for the Ravens or are you cheering for the Bengals? Or just a tie?
Man, a tie would be fantastic. It'd be fantastic. So I'll say this. Either way, it's good for the Chiefs. If the Ravens lose, it's good for the Chiefs because it puts more distance between first and second.
Yeah.
If the Bengals lose, it's good for the Chiefs because the Bengals have the potential to put up some good numbers against the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Right.
And they've proven that they play well against the Chiefs. So, I think either team that loses is good for the Chiefs. So I'm not going to get too hung up on it. Man, if I had to pick somebody, I think I'd have to pick for the Ravens just because I like the matchup with the Chiefs versus the Ravens better than I like a matchup playing the Bengals. And so I'm cheering for the Ravens simply because I think the Chiefs would have an easier shot to beat them than the Bengals.
There you go. All right. I like it. I like it a lot. That's great.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us in this episode of the Kingdom Corner. Make sure you're following us on all social media platforms. Like, comment, share this podcast. Help us get out there so all the people in the world, a good, clean Chiefs podcast is family friendly for everyone involved. So this episode is brought to you by Oh Hey Threads, where a portion of every purchase goes to support missions all over the world, one super soft tea at a time. We'll see you next time right here in the Kingdom Corner.